Hi. Today, I want to talk about what's going on out there. Now, I've spent a lot of time over the years thinking about how crazy this world has become. You know, every day there's always something going on of which blows our mind. The audacity of certain things that happen, of which totally blows out of proportion our expectations of reality and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm getting a little too ahead of myself, but essentially, yeah, like I was saying, I want to talk about what's going on out there. And I've come to a conclusion. I usually come to these intermediary conclusions, but essentially it's become very clear to me as to what's going on. And you know, you'll have to bear with me, but I did write a little bit of a script and I might go off a little bit, but here's how it goes. We are caught in a fight between literal good and evil, where although literal evil doesn't physically exist, it manifests themselves through us as conscious, free agent living beings. Even though they're physically intangible, they exist on a different plane of dimension. Or, well, they exist on different planes of dimensions. Just like how gravity and electricity and magnetism exists. Like, we can experience those directly. We know that gravity exists. We can experience it directly, even though we can't physically, tangibly touch it. So in other words, we are vessels just in the same way, we are vessels for good and evil, just in the same way that, say for example, a cup would be a vessel for liquids or drinks. However, our role is specifically, as free agents who are now caught in the midst of the climax of a long war, we have free agency, otherwise known as consciousness or free will or free choice or what have you. We're getting to a point where, well, all our choices are being limited to only two options: good or evil. I think if you've experienced enough insanity that's happened, not necessarily within the last couple of years, but you know, in your lifetime, it's not a leap of faith to say that the way that you will, the side that you do want to pick is probably not going to be the easy way. Knowing that the easiest way is usually the way that you don't want to go down, you're going to have to work hard. I shouldn't really say work hard, but so if you're fighting for material things or experiences, you're going to remain shackled in bondage to bribery, essentially. Or if you're going to be fighting for freedom and love, then all those material and non-material things or experiences cease to control you or your spirit, even though you may actually end up getting to have all those things. You could be rich and let it control you, or you could be rich, lose it all, and not care and make it back, because either way you can be happy. Your joy in life is purely going to be based not over the results, not over your feelings. It's the fact that, I'm going a bit off script here, it's the fact that you're living right here, right now, with joy. And that little nuance of being joyous because you are free to act in your own freedom will essentially assist you in choosing the side that you will want to choose. So why is it that I mention all of this? It's because, so I mentioned what's happening. I mentioned, and I've given, I don't really want to say I've given evidence for it, but, I've mentioned what's happening. I mentioned a little bit as to how we're going to go about doing what we need to do. What is it that's happening? Why is this happening? It's because humanity as a species right now is in the process of evolution, re-evolution, I guess, specifically through spiritual reinvigoration. Man, that sounds crazy. But essentially, we're on the precipice of evolution because it starts with you, right here, right now. Human evolution starts with you. Each and every one of us as individuals who make choices in our life to live free with freedom and love. Man, I keep saying that, but it's true. Knowing that we have the power to make changes, not only for ourselves, but through ourselves as individuals, for others, we are literally elevating humanity. And I didn't really quite finish my script here, but I'm just gonna keep going here. Essentially, we're all gonna be elevated. Rising tide lifts all boats. And essentially each and every one of us, if we follow the principles, the natural, if we follow the principles of freedom and love, and essentially natural law, and recognizing truth for what it is, we are going to go to a place that we've never even imagined before. You see, this is a war between good and evil. This is post-national. Not post-national. This is regardless of what nation you are. This is regardless of what race you are. It doesn't matter what caste, what class of citizenry that you come from. It doesn't matter, because what we're experiencing right now in this crazy time is essentially what's happening is that evil is starting to run out of time, and what you're experiencing and seeing out there is that they are running out of time, so they have to implement all these crazy things before people start to wake up. And how you wake up is recognizing, wait a minute, there's something not right going on around here. Like, something doesn't add up. I feel like what I've noticed personally is that there's all this, there's an insane amount of propaganda that's out there. We've been blasted with advertisement about, say, for example, beauty standards or societal standards of wanting to be like, you should pretend to be rich, beautiful, fit, or whatever. I mean, like, there's some things, it's not that those things are bad, it's just those things are warped now. And we're getting to a point when it's not even, so what has happened is that morally and ethically, in every way, in every sense, every sensibility of being a human has literally been inverted. It's not even warped, it's inverted. And ugly is the new beautiful. Short is the new tall. Unhealthy is the new healthy. Lazy is the new hardworking. What else can I say? Man, just like degeneracy is the new generation, like generative force. And that's not the path that I'm interested in. And hopefully you're not interested in that. That's kind of stupid behavior, right? And so essentially, what I'm trying to say is that as individuals, what we need to do is recognize truth. And in recognizing truth, see, there's no other way. I've thought about this for so long. I've tried to package it in so many other ways, but it's literally impossible. It is literally impossible, because when you recognize truth, when you recognize who we are as individuals, you know, we are souls that have a body. We're not the human body. The human is merely the form. It's the circumstance that we find ourselves in. Like, we were born, like, if you were born poor and blind, that's just the circumstance you were born into. Of course it sucks ass, but you know, you make with what you have. And what we have is the right to the action, not the results, but the action, to which generally you can, you know, find the most probabilistic results of which work in your benefit. But that's aside the point. You know, we as free conscious free agents, we have the right and the ability to act in any way that we desire. But the way that is most expedient is when, you know, expedient in accordance to us finding joy in our life, us finding happiness in life, which includes having all the riches and the wealth, having a good time and stuff like that. You know, it's regardless of that. That stuff comes naturally as a result of living in accordance to the principles of truth. Truth, and as I said before, there's no other way of packaging this, truth in accordance to the principles as God derived. So, you know, maybe I'll talk about that more some other time. But what matters is that if you are interested in living with health, with wealth, good relationships, anything that is positive, then you must start with asking yourself, what is the truth about everything that I'm doing? You know, this fight, if you're interested in picking the side that you really want, ask yourself, what actions can I do to align with the principles of which the principles of the side of which matters to me most? If I'm going to pick the side of good, then doesn't good necessarily entail that we recognize the truth when we come with the truth? You know, say for example, if there's something that I'm very touchy about, but I ask you for the truth, you shouldn't be afraid to tell me. Because that truth, even though it's going to hurt me in the short term, is going to be something that actually helps me in the long term. Of course, you're supposed to tell the truth in kindness, but still, I mean, you understand what I'm trying to say. But if you're interested in picking the side of evil, I hate to, you know, it kind of sucks that it's black and white, but, you know, that's just the reality. If you're interested in remaining in status quo, let's just put it that way. It's not even like most people are so blind to the idea of what is good and evil because most people have never been taught or even investigated the idea of what is good and evil, or even investigated why it must necessarily exist, or if it didn't exist, if it didn't exist, investigating possibilities of its non-existence, with full desire as opposed to, with lies, which kind of leads me back to my point. Sorry, that was really circular. If I wanted to stay in status quo, then what would be best is that I remain lying to myself. A great example of this would be people who have narcissistic personality disorder, or I guess bipolar, but not bipolar. It's more like narcissistic personality disorder. These people, I mean, I knew someone who always tried to one-up, not necessarily me, but people around him. Always tried to make himself look good, right? And what he did was, he used to speak in a way of which would try to boast him. Now, it's not necessarily a lie straight out, but he would always try to be hyperbolic about his greatness, right? And the question is, what is the truth of if you wanted to help someone, or if you were in that case and you really wanted to actually be someone who was great, then you would intentionally look to the truth as to why, I guess why you would want to do that and how you could truly go about doing that. And the truth of the matter is that, if you were so narcissistic, you would have stuff to back that up. But no, a lot of people I've noticed are just, speaking emptiness. Being, excuse me, just had dinner. Being hyperbolic and just speaking about and just spouting emptiness. And I guess this kind of wraps around to the final point that I want to make here. How are we going to fight this? Now, I mentioned we're going to, if you want to pick your sides, align with truth. Well, how do we do that? What is the actual how-to do that? Well, it starts with everything that we do in our life, our everyday action. It's the why it's the why that is foundational to our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Let me give you an example. If I really wanted to be, so if my goal was to be in alignment with good, then what is necessary is for me to be healthy. What is necessary is for me to be happy naturally. It's funny, I was just talking to my friend. He was saying, to those who have, he grew up, he's Korean, he grew up in a Christian church. And he said to me, it was funny, I forgot, I take a lot from the Bhagavad Gita and Sanatana Dharma, or otherwise known as Hinduism. That's the misnomer. I said to him, no, he said to me, I forgot what I said to him, but essentially he quoted the Bible. He said, to those who have everything will have, to those who have, I can't remember quite the quote was, to those who have everything will have even more, or will have all of it, and to those who have nothing will have, to those who have nothing will remain in having nothing. Essentially, like, I'm paraphrasing here, I don't know, but essentially what I said to him, I was talking about Willy Wonka. Right. I was talking about Willy Wonka. The point is that you're supposed to be virtuous. Because when you're virtuous, the reward for being virtuous is virtuosity. You don't get something at the end of the tunnel. No, you just do it because in and of itself, it's actually good to do it. And the rewards naturally are reaped from being virtuous. Not shirking your work whenever you have an opportunity. Like, working hard whenever you can, but also doing it within, the necessary amount that you need to. Being grateful for everything you already have and all that kind of stuff. Essentially, if you already are happy with the things that you have, and you naturally keep going in accordance with the principles of truth, you can go as far as you want. You can be as rich as you want. You can be as powerful as you want, and you can serve not only yourself but other people. And I was talking about Willy Wonka because essentially that whole movie it wasn't about the kid getting the ticket at the end. No, it was about the kid, like, just because, like, it wasn't just about, like, the chocolate. I don't know. Like, essentially what the movie was about, what you've noticed, one theme was that there's all these kids, in this chocolate factory, and it's so tempting to do this, and that, the fat purple kid or something like that. Each and every one of them fell to their vices, and they were terrible kids, except for that one kid who maybe he had nothing, but he literally had nothing, but he was happy with, maybe he was happy, I don't know. But essentially, he was virtuous. He didn't fall prey. Like he won by default because he didn't have to do anything. He just literally just he was just virtuous naturally, and as such, he was rewarded. Naturally, he didn't have to do jack squat, except just stay on the I don't want to say conveyor belt, but like stay on the natural path. Stay on the path. Like the guy literally tells you, don't mess around. Like it's not like, sure, maybe it's tempting for some people, but like, God. Anyways, and my point here is that, try to remain as virtuous as you can, but to actually align with the principles of good, we have to find ways, which way possible in our life to just incrementally make it a little better. Let me give you another example of my own personal life. I used to drink a lot of Coca-Cola. I'm living here in this really nice place. I'm very grateful for it. I got very lucky. I don't really talk about it too much, but living on your own and not exactly being the most disciplined person, you cut to shortcuts. You take shortcuts in life. I didn't drink a lot of water. I drank a lot of coffee. I also drank a lot of Coca-Cola, and at some point, I recently went to the dentist. He said to me, I got 6 cavities, right? But it's because, I drank a lot of sugary drinks. But lately, what's happened is that I switched off of sugary drinks. Not quite, though. I was drinking Coca-Cola initially, and then I switched to, I was very fervently against energy drinks, so I drank Red Bull. Then I was like, one of my biggest issues was energy. I'm always a sleepy dude. I mean, like even my eyes kind of like give that off, but I've always been sleepy and I've tried so hard to find energy. And at some point I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to try Red Bull, see what it's like. It's good to experiment here and there for your health, in a good way, and that's healthy. So I tried Red Bull. I was like, wow, this stuff actually works. And the next week I was like, you know what? Let me try Monster. Everyone tries Monster, right? Then I loved Monster, and the funny thing is, after I started drinking Monster, couldn't drink Coca-Cola ever again. I literally had a sip. I hated it. It tastes like garbage. Monster is so much better than what a flying endorsement, eh? Than Coca-Cola. And then I started drinking the sugar-free one because maybe it's healthier, or not healthier, at least worse for you. Lo and behold, they both have a lot of citric acid, so your teeth get, either way, your teeth get rotted out. But now, I'm looking for more health solutions. And tomorrow I'm gonna go to Whole Foods and see if they have kombucha. Like canned kombucha. And you know what? At some point, I'm probably gonna end up making like just drinking a lot of like alkalized water. Which neutralizes the acidity in your mouth or in your body, which actually helps you. Wow, I'm such a salesman, eh? Yeah. So I'm gonna start with kombucha. I'm gonna see what that's like, and I'm gonna see what else there is. I was just looking at Dr. Josh Axe talking about healing your healthy gut. So, anyways, my point is that at some point, if you try to live with truth in every aspect of your life. Starting with health, starting with fitness, whatever little way possible, at some point you're going to find that you can't even go back because going back to all this, soy juice and consumerism and all that kind of garbage, that lifestyle, you try to go back and you think you want to go back and you try, it will literally be impossible. And at some point you naturally spiral into purity. Or I guess, but or I guess not. Or no. Well, anyways, my point is that just try your best. You don't have to be a paragon of virtue, but it's better than being a paragon of lies, a miserable pile of lies. What matters most is serving God, as strange as it sounds. And I've never been one. I've never been one to go to church. I never went to church until I was a paid musician. Even then, I never paid attention. I didn't give a shit. And then here I am now, on my own. I don't go to any religious stuff. And I naturally came to the conclusion that through pure, not just pure deduction, but through analyzing the strategy of the politicians, the financial elites, the powers that be that are out there, the Hollywoods, people who are at the top, even people who don't even realize that they're inculcated in this kind of stuff, through merely looking at the actions and the resulting goals and going all the way to the end, the natural conclusion as to why people would act this way. It became very clear that, no one's really out. I mean, there's people out there who are looking out for us, but we have to play our own part for our own lives too. It's not for other people to save our lives. Help me help you. It's for you to help yourself. And hopefully what I've talked about here will awaken you. I don't know how much more I'm going to talk about. I do want to talk about identity, but it's already been almost 30 minutes of me talking incessantly. So I think I'll leave it at that. Good luck and Godspeed.